I'm just learning how to be more Texan. You think I can become Texan? Anyway, I'm excited because I'm here wearing a cowboy hat. Oh, I'm here wearing a cowboy hat that our next guest brought for me rather nicely, thinking on this whole live in Texas. And yeah, yes, you can tell I'm quite happy about wearing a cowboy hat. I'm not going to wear it the whole time though, because we're going to have a serious conversation with our next guest, Pooja Uppalapati, who I've had the privilege of working with for some time now, and she agreed to join us for an episode. So welcome, Pooja.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you. While we have worked with each other for a while now, I don't know that much of your background. So can you give us kind of a quick rundown of where you've been and how you got to here at Broadcom?
Sure. I've always had a liking for the engineering and technology and all of that. My father has been an engineer all his life. He's more into mechanics, and he was part of an organization that was building, warfare, airplanes, and defense
industry. Okay.
In the defense industry, and so he had a lot of passion for engineering. And so my older sister, went for engineering, computer science, and we got the first computer home when she was doing her engineering. I was still in school, and that fascination began with more of just using the system and all of that. And then I went into computer science engineering too. I graduated, got my master's in computer science as well, from Northern Illinois University here. Okay. And then I started my career as an intern at a financial and media company. Okay. I started my internship there, and it was brilliant. I loved what I was doing. It was passionate. I was improving the performance of the applications that were running there. I was able to contribute. It just gave me a kick. And after that, very soon after that, I joined the same company. I worked as a software engineer there. And then I moved to CA Technologies. That's what it was called then. And I was getting married, so I had to move to a location where my husband was, and that's how I joined CA Technologies in Hyderabad, office in India.
What a move! Oh my gosh.
Yes, that's where it began. So I worked there for about 5 years. Very fortunate to have worked with a lot of the teams in the Hyderabad office. It was a beautiful location, and I learned a lot there. I started contributing to conferences, Great Super Conference, and different things that were happening within the city. I learned a lot, and after that I moved to the Lyle office
to be closer to home.
To be closer to, so home is still Hyderabad.
Okay.
But the Lyle office, I moved to Lyle office because my husband and we decided, okay, we'll pursue the job opportunities in the US, and that's how we moved to Lyle. And I worked there for a few years, and I was part of data management value stream. I also worked on a product, CEM, compliance event manager, in the security value stream. I got different sorts of experience, right? Different value stream, different products, different customer bases. And that's when the stint of UI development, user interfaces, and building user interfaces for mainframe products, all of that was introduced to me.
Okay.
And so that was Lyle. I worked there for a few years, and then I moved to Plano, Texas, where you are now.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
And I've been here for 5 years.
Okay.
And I've worked in AIOps value stream, MOI product, got some experience there. And my then team lead and now manager, Jyotsna, came and told me, hey, we're starting a UI team. You know what this is? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to. And so I jumped the ship from being a full stack developer to a UI front-end focused engineer. And I, again, got a kick out of it. I was enjoying the work I was doing. And there was an opportunity to be, while doing the technical stuff, also start understanding the strings of management, understanding how management works. And I had the fortunate leadership team who believed I had it in me, so I gave it a try, and the rest is history. So currently I am a manager, a supervisor as role in Broadcom, mainframe software division in the UI group, UI UX group. So that's how I came to be here.
So tell us a little bit about where the efforts are around UI UX in Broadcom.
Sure. So you got it right. So Mainframe has Mainframe as a platform, as a server, has always been there, right? And we've had applications and several products that already have UI screens on the Mainframe running for several years now.
Yeah.
But like you said, these screens are referred to as 3270 terminal emulations, or the green
panels,
screen,
the panels themselves. Yep.
Yes, all of that. And they're robust, they're secure. There's no question there, right? So we absolutely respect it. We think it was a great way to have us use the capabilities of Mainframe, because that's the user interface. That's what the user interfaces with for the applications on the Mainframe. But as time progressed, what has happened is the knowledge and the skills needed to navigate through the green screens has depleted.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons being more modern technologies and frameworks came to be, right? And so the universities and every other places, they are getting more exposure to those frameworks, and they find it more intuitive to learn.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that the green screens are not intuitive, because for somebody who's skilled, who has mastered the skill of navigating to the green screens, that's the best, and there's no question about it. But for more newer generation, newer mainframers, right, newer kids passing out of college, we need to give them a little bit more intuitive experience, that's something that they are more used to, and something that's more conducive to learn.
Yes.
Right? So what we're essentially trying to do here is bridging the skill gap between a tenured mainframe professional and a new, fresh mainframer, right?
Yes.
Somebody who's coming to the space. So how do we do that? Is we are building more graphical user interfaces. Mm-hmm. So the UI for the mainframes is more green screen and terminal, but there's graphical user interfaces, and that's what are called web applications, and we are building those using more modern technology stack,
Mm-hmm.
Like React.
Yep.
And all the ecosystem around React, right? We have Node.js, Next.js. We are making it as robust as possible to be installed, for the applications to be installed and running seamlessly in the customer environments. And so that's where my team comes into the picture, for modernizing the look and feel for what's already there, and for what's already working in a robust and secure environment. But we are building the latest applications to bridge the gap and have more people come and work for these mission critical applications.
Definitely, and that's, one of the reasons we were excited to have you here, because what we've covered in previous episodes is especially focused on development environments.
Mm-hmm.
So not, right, obviously there's working in green screen, and then there was, especially in DevOps, there was a phase where everybody had Eclipse plugins. Mm-hmm. Eclipse has kind of fallen by the wayside. Now VS Code is sort of the primary IDE of developer's choice. But as much as we can integrate with those things, some applications really need a new way in. Right. Because, like you say, it's not easy to get through the panels in the green screen to really do the daily tasks that are required. So we've spoken kind of generally, yeah. And there are kind of two aspects to these GUIs that we're working on that I want to touch on here. One is to talk about some specific examples, so mm-hmm. where there are new GUIs that viewers can necessarily try out if their mm-hmm. company obviously has access. And then also what's central to actually developing them, because there's something called the precision library, and maybe that's where we should start. Is we're creating GUIs, mm-hmm. but we kind of have a model in mind. So can you tell us a little bit about precision?
Sure. I feel a lot of pride being a part of the Mainframe software division mm-hmm. for the vision that they had, because 5 years down now, I completely understand how much of it is valuable, having precision as part of our journey. So in very simple terms, I would say precision is three different parts, right? What are those? One is the design system itself. The design system is, as a whole, the three things. One is the coding, what's coming in the UI, right? The React that I told you about, the user interfaces that we are building. One element of it is the designs, the designs that we are building for it, the Figma library and all of that. The third part is the documentation that comes around it with it for the products to adopt. So now, why do we need precision, right? What value is precision bringing into this whole UI development effort? Is that we are able, you can think of it more like a common component library, right? That's been designed with the artifacts and by designers who are the best at it, right? And we've built some common components now that can be reused across all the products. So what does that help us with? We are able to reuse the code. The maintenance is easier. It's one place that you can upgrade or bring in new things, and then it goes across all the, it is other products are able to adopt and make use of it. It also brings a lot of consistency for the customers. So what is it for us within the company? Yes, it's reuse, and so there is benefit, but what is in it for customers? It's the consistency. When a customer shop has 3 different products from Broadcom Mainframe software division, the 3 of them look, feel, navigate seamlessly as though you can see the brand in it, right? So the reason is same components, same designs, and similar look and feel is being propagated across, right? So that's essentially the reason why Precision came into existence. Now Precision is a global team of designers and front-end developers and document writers, right? And so we have adoption across different value streams, like you mentioned, and we are seeing the benefits for it roll out, because products can go to customers faster.
Yes.
We have better go-to market because we are not inventing the wheel, right? We already have a framework in place. We have the right components that are needed. It's a matter of customizing it for the product or looking at the use case, and so that's the benefit there. Precision also helped us bring in the thought process, the persona-driven thought process, which was not essentially the theme before.
Yes.
Who is using this product? Which persona is going to benefit from the usage of this product? And so ability to think in that terms, and ability to understand at a big picture, okay, this persona maps to this product and this product. So how are they going to, be able to use them seamlessly, and can we make it easy and more intuitive for them to use? And so Broadcom and Mainframe software division has heavily invested in this angle, right? So it's use case driven, and there's a research team that's able to reach back to the customer. So if anybody is interested to give feedback on any of the UIs that they have seen or have beta installed or in their production, we would be happy to take those inputs, because we have a usability team, research team that can go through it and help us make the UIs better.
Definitely, and having the consistency as well of the component library means that even if it's the team, so we have the UX researchers, but if it's the team interacting with customers and they get feedback on a particular aspect, that feedback just contributes to a whole kind of backlog of other feedback. So it makes the component library even better, because it's not one group of people that are always providing that feedback, but anyone who's touching one of these new UIs.
Absolutely, and that also contributes to the improvement of all other products, right? So you make it in one place. The other aspect is also security, right? The vulnerabilities, everything is handled in one place, so that there's a gateway there, and we have the best of certificate, making sure that we are good with code coverage, we're good with scanning, we are making sure there's no vulnerabilities, all of that secured in the beginning, even before the development starts.
And then there's also, and when I was a part of one of the example products, but the Endeavor web interface, the other thing that was nice, especially with your team, is that while we get the scanning of all the underlying libraries and things like that, your engineers are also skilled in doing VPATs. And so we actually are able to do kind of certification that these UIs, or this everything based on precision, is really accessible to a variety of end users, which is also quite exciting, because with previous UIs and the teams managing it, we weren't always able to manage all these different aspects of accessibility and security.
Yeah, no, I totally understand, because the more products are adopting precision and the more we have customer base, we are just looking at so many different aspects, like you said, accessibility, browser testing, compatibility across, how are we going to be backward compatible as we are moving forward, performance testing, security. There's so many aspects to just that, and constantly improving.
Yes.
If you see around, like the market around you, the technology is constantly changing. There's better ways to manage things, there's better way to manage data and to improve the performance and help your users to. We have use cases, and I may be going a little bit deep here, but we have use cases from customers where they have to look through a report that's more than 1 billion lines of records, right? And they do it, right? They have to do it. And so how do you get better performance with these kind of use cases, right? So we have to constantly look and solve the problem. So once we have solved the problem in one area, it's very easy to propagate it to all the other product areas if there's a similar use case.
Definitely. So what are some of the products? So let's get down. So I mentioned the Endeavor Web Interface, which I was briefly responsible for, but we have a very nice episode with Ritika. So if you go back, you can watch that. But what are some other products where we're working on these UIs, these GUIs?
So data management is one of the value streams that's modernizing applications, right? And some of these applications are business critical, mission critical, because they're being used by insurance companies, by banks, by huge retail companies to do their day-to-day operations. And a miss, the heartbeat is going to disrupt their entire operations. So some such examples I would say is, one of the products is Web Viewer. Web Viewer is a product for reporting, right? So you can, so that's one of the products where we are building the user interface with the most modern aspects. And so Web Viewer is one of the products. Then we have a Vantage that's going to start up. Vantage is a storage management tool, and with a huge customer base, a very important product for the portfolio. And it's very use case driven. It's for storage managers, for storage administrators, and they come in there to do a variety of activities, right? And they want to make sure they're understanding where the limits are hitting. They want to make sure they're allocating the right resources to the products that are needed, and all of that. So we're building user interfaces for Vantage. And then the other aspect is for DB administrators, database administrators. On the mainframes, the database tools, database administration tools, or DB2, we have ingrown databases like Datacom and IDMS.
Yes.
And there are tools for DBAs that are separate now. If your site has multiple of these tools installed, you'll still have to go to different interfaces to manage your data there. So what we are doing now is the vision is to get a combined. Why is it hard to build a user interface where somebody can go and administer any of their database installed?
Choose their flavor.
Choose their flavor, right? So that's what we are focusing on now. So it's called we are modernizing the database administration tools, and it's a beautiful journey, because we have had a beta release, so the customers have the ability to install it now and try it and give us feedback. We are planning for the next beta release that's coming up soon. We have more coming, and we want to not only provide the capability to administer and do the various activities, but also give visualizations. So UI team comes into that comes into picture for those needs also. How are my storage pools or buffer pools? How is my buffer pools looking at as for the entire LPAR? That's you can get a bird's eye view of what's going on. And we also experienced that when a customer at a customer site, or sometimes when asked, how's the schema looking, how's your entire database looking, and it's a very difficult question to answer unless you have been part of, unless you have a legacy of knowledge in that
unless
field.
You're a 10+ year DBA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so somebody knew there, if you do not know the entire schema of how your database is structured, it's going to be hard for you to take the right decisions. And so that's where the UI team comes into the picture and says, a bird's eye view, how is the entire thing structured in the consumable way so that they can make the right decisions.
Exactly. And I know that from a lot of our customers that it's all about the visualizations. They want to have some place where they can get reports or just high-level overviews that they can share with a number of stakeholders. And so I would say, to kind of sum up, because we've kind of gone back and forth between kind of a topic more for internal teams and thinking about their products and for customers. But I think in summary, we would say that where it makes sense, Broadcom is taking the approach of either modernizing existing GUIs or creating new ones to cover these workflows. And for internal folks, it's not, you need to create a new GUI, you need to evaluate whether it will provide value. But no matter what, working with your team, in the greater UI UX, and getting consistency means that for internal users, they get the benefit of using something that is robust, has a lot of feedback. And for customers who work in a particular space, be it database management or DevOps, they're going to work with a number of new or old things, but they're going to integrate nicely, and they're going to have a very similar look and feel.
Yes. And especially if you're a customer who's playing multiple roles, you will have to go to multiple different tools, right? And so your job becomes more intuitive, more easy flowing, and use case driven. So yes, all of that.
Definitely. Pooja, it's been great having you. Thanks again for this wonderful hat.
You are now a Texan.
I feel like it. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.